Hi, and welcome back, everyone. My name is Ryan Selvy, and this is File New, which is your weekly source of designer news, art news, creator news, and everything to keep you up to date in the ever-changing world of being a creative in 2025. Today, we've got a lot of exciting stuff to go over. We've got some updates about Macs, of course. We have some Apple updates with some new software, or new hardware, actually. There's a cool thing where apparently all of the advertisements in Grand Central Station in New York are gone and being replaced by photography. YouTube updated their user interface. We have some resources for you. We also have some brand new redesigns with Domino's Pizza actually did a redesign. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover. We're here for the next hour or so. This is a live stream, but I always tell people that if you're watching the replay, I promise to make it worth your while. We've got a lot to go through. So the first thing we have for us is the news section, followed by Font of the Week, Rebrand, and resources. So thanks for being here. I'll say hi to people in the chat in just a second, but let's start off by hopping on into the news. Well, actually, starting off before we even hop into the news, as we normally like to take a look at the schedule for Adobe Live. We are live on the Adobe Live schedule, Adobe Live channel. Right now, it is October 15th at the time of this broadcast. So if you're watching, we are right about here in the 10 a.m. slot for File New, News for Creatives. Right after this show, we're actually switching over to the section for Twitch for the rest of the day, which will then be a fun stream with the design sprint, sports design with Stephen Overturf, which is cool because it's like a whole stream that's all focused on athletics, and sometimes they do like a mascot in recent weeks. Where they were working on creating a mascot for something. And then also followed with Edit Like a Pro with CA and LA, which if you guys have never caught CA and LA before, they are a phenomenal duo, Courtney and Ashley, and they are editors in Los Angeles, which are always giving updates on things in Premiere and things on all of things that you need to know when you're creating content for video, whether it's a professional film production or if it's for being able to edit things for your social media and your normal life. And then before we hop into the news, just want to say hi to Alyssa and Alex. We also have Melanie and Winter, Clever, all over on the YouTube channel. Thank you guys for being here, as well on people on Behance like Apurva, Peter, Penny, Clever, Oliver. Thank you guys all for being here. Hello from Brooklyn. Let everyone know where you're tuning in from. And it's also really great to see a lot of the regulars here as well. But as promised, we do have some news to get into. We're starting with a little bit of sad news. Drew Struzan died just this week. And if you are unfamiliar with the name, you are at least very familiar with his work. This and all of the other links for today's show and previous episodes are going to be available on the Raindrop link. If you go to the link that's in the description, you'll be able to see that we have all of these different links. They have the different hashtags and stuff for you. That way you are able to then navigate and find what we're talking about. These are up here, then I'll move them down. But it goes in order also of kind of how we're going to be going over stuff. You can see that Drew Struzan, he died at 78, I believe of Alzheimer's, which is sad. But he did the posters for Indiana Jones, for Star Wars. He did it for the Muppets. What else do we have here? I mean, the Star Wars ones are so iconic. Harry Potter. And what's really cool is he did it with colored pencil and airbrush. He would go in and he would kind of start with a colored pencil sketch of sorts. Hocus Pocus, that's seasonal. And this is a nice article that goes through a lot of the posters on Gizmodo. This is coming to us from James Whitbrook. This was published just yesterday, going over some of his best posters. But if you look at it, part of the reason why he was so famous is, one, because he has such a recognizable style that works along a lot of different movie posters. But something that made it really interesting is that he blended all of these characters together onto a singular composition, which didn't necessarily make sense in like a, physical space, but he played with scale and making things really, really big and tiny. He played with the idea of having things in focus at the front. And then as you notice, like, Indy's face right here is very highlighted and very crisp and has lots of super minute details, and the hat is super crisp. But then as you kind of go over and you look at the flames, you'll notice the flames don't have that same tactile sharpness, because he also played not only with lighting, and in the lighting here, it seems like this is probably the focus of the entire thing, and then his eyes kind of lead you over towards some of the content. He did a really good job at being able to play with focus and sharpness to be able to then really guide your eye and make really interesting posters. He started with colored pencils, like I said, then would do an airbrush, and then would go back into it with a lot of colored pencils. That was like his main two mediums that he went with. He was known for working really, really fast. Some of these posters he did like in just a week. I think, and that might be spreading false news here, but I think for the Back to the Future one, he did it in like a weekend, I think, for at least the first one. And it's incredible to look at these and know that these are drawings. These are things that, he was really well known for. And he has such a body of work. I see Alyssa is saying, what an amazing body of work. Which, yes, definitely agree. He definitely will have a legacy. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people don't know his name, but everyone does know his work. So hopefully, as he has since died, we will then hopefully continue to learn more about his name and his work, and are just really grateful that this was able to really shape the landscape in a time when illustrative movie posters kind of have gone the way of many other things where they've kind of gone away, and he really was able to, I mean, E.T., like literally any big gigantic blockbuster, he was behind the poster. So hats off to him. May he rest in peace. And let's continue to be inspired by his work, because yeah, I mean, I feel like some of you probably even had some of these posters on your walls growing up as a kid, or even, who knows, even as an adult. Next thing I wanted to touch on is Adobe Max. We are less than 2 weeks away now. Adobe Max is taking place in Los Angeles. It is the big convention that Adobe puts on every single year and gives exciting updates about the next coming year of Creative Cloud updates, and brings creators together. It has a really cool floor of a bunch of different creators and markets and merchants and people really involved in the creative field. I'm trying to see if I have my thing by me, but I got like a really cool Logitech thing when I was there last year. I originally wasn't going, but now I am going as of like this week. Alessandro just asked, are you going to Max, Ryan? Yes, I will be there, and I will be help running production for Adobe Live on the floor. So if you see me, I will probably be alongside the Adobe Live booth, helping people go live, miking people up, messing with lights, pressing the buttons on the back end of the software. So if you're there, please come find me. I'll also try to see if I can maybe vlog for File New or something while I'm there, just as a means to be able to give you guys an idea, if you're not there, what the floor looks like, what some merchants are there and markets and things that you can get. I got some cool art last year when I was there as well. Alex is saying that he really captured Miss Piggy to essence. Yes, which is one of his big things was, all of these people have character likeness, but they aren't. If you were to lay over a photo directly on top of it, it probably wouldn't be the same. But they also don't feel like caricatures. And that's a very, very fine line to be able to navigate, to have resemblance, but also have character, but also not make it feel like, they got it at an amusement park for $30. Which would be a really good deal, by the way, $30 for a caricature. Welcome in, Patrick Benny. We were just talking about how Drew Struzan unfortunately died, and then we were talking a little bit about Max. But anyway, there are some online events too. You can check it out by going to the Max website, and there we'll have a bunch of online things, so you can go and you can attend virtually for free if you're not already going. But this is exciting. Also, to answer Chevy's question, says, is this a regular weekly stream in this time? I want to save this on my calendar if that's the case. Yes, you know it. We will be live every Wednesday at this time for the foreseeable future, except for the week of Max. And the week of Max is not this coming week, but the week after. So on the 29th, there will be a little blip, and our schedule will be changed. But as of this week and other weeks, it will always be at this time. So go ahead, put it on your calendar. And I'm honored that you would do that. So thank you for doing that and appreciate it. And I hope to keep you up to date. The next piece of content I want to talk about was Netflix. They're making a big bet on video podcasts. This came from The Verge. This is from Emma Roth. She always does really good writing for The Verge. They're bringing 16 podcasts to Netflix starting this year, including the Bill Simmons podcast, Conspiracy Theories, and the Ringer NFL show. This is just, I wanted to bring it up on the show because it is a big change in the landscape of Netflix and just the online digital world of like taking things seriously. This is a bit, I remember when Spotify got into the podcast game. That was kind of a big moment, watershed moment and stuff. But according to this, it says that Netflix is no longer just a home for TV shows, movies, and documentaries. You'll be able to stream video podcasts. They said that they're partnering with Spotify's podcast studio, as we were saying. Hello to Wade. Thanks for being here. And then it's going to offer 16 series. It will appear on Netflix in the U.S. starting in 2026 before expanding to other countries. And as part of the deals, the shows won't appear in their entirety on YouTube, according to a report from the New York Times. So not only is YouTube Netflix's biggest rival, it also tops Spotify and Apple Music as the most popular podcast streaming platform, ranking in more than 1 billion listeners each month. And if you're here, guys, that means you're here on YouTube. So good to have you here. And this is a video podcast. Alex Manrique says, video podcasts are so good. Didn't think I'd love it so much. And here he is. He's here on his favorite podcast, File New, on Wednesdays for all your designer, tech, and creator updates. Oliver says, aren't video podcasts basically TV shows? I don't know. You tell me. Penny's saying, when is Netflix picking up File New? Wow. If you know anybody, put me in contact, and I will very easily say ba-dum, as much as you want me to. And then one thing I kind of did skip over real quick in our other news story is the Galaxy event for Samsung. This is October 21st, 2025, which is on Tuesday next week. And according to Engadget, this is coming from Anna Washenko, a contributing reporter for Engadget, says that they are back with another event this fall, and they are planned to, according to this big leak, have a possible Galaxy XR, which is extended reality. And this is something that's kind of like a Vision Pro, kind of like the Meta glasses. Also, Apple's rumored to be switching over to things that are also like the Meta glasses, and being able to have a heads-up display where you are going to be able to see things in the exact world around you. We talked a little bit about the Meta glasses a few weeks ago and being able to see text messages, also being able to see directions, which I thought was really cool. You'd be walking around and be able to like see that it says to take a left, and it's just like on your little lens so you can see. This one coming from Samsung, though, I think would be more of a headset closer to maybe Vision Pro, and it is the first commercial product to leverage the Android XR platform for augmented reality. They said on Engadget that we knew Samsung was aiming to release this headset sometime this year, so it's very likely we'll learn both the release date and the price during the World's Wide Open, which, like I said, is October 21st, 2025. I, always am trying to link back to like why we're talking about this on like Adobe Live. And for this, I think that it's just more and more prevalent that the way that we interact with technology is about to change the next 5 years, and thinking more of how things are around you and how you're interacting with things in a physical sense that could also be enhanced or elevated with a digital layer on top of it is something that is no longer science fiction, but something that is kind of inevitable in coming up. Oliver says he doesn't want anything that close to his head from Meta, which I think is a big concern from a lot of people, which is also something that is always, interesting to see how people navigate how there is privacy and there is also an effort to wanting new technology and stuff. Going back quickly to the Netflix making a big bet on podcast story that we just talked about, I see Alyssa is in the chat saying her knee-jerk reaction is eye roll, but hopefully that the shows will be nuanced, researched, informative, and etc., and not just a bunch of talking heads shooting it. And yeah, I mean, that's always can be the case when it comes to podcasts. Anyone can have a camera and a microphone, but you're looking at a guy right now that has a camera and a microphone, and I appreciate that you guys are here anyway. um, our next story today is new PG 13 guidelines for Instagram teen accounts. This is something that was in the making for a while, but is something that is starting to really kind of roll out. This is coming directly from the Meta website. This is updates to built-in protections to give people, teenagers, kind of the idea of PG-13. They said that Instagram is revamping teen accounts to be guided by PG-13 movie ratings, meaning teens will see content that's similar to what they'd see in a PG-13 movie by default. Parents who prefer extra controls can choose a new, stricter setting as well. And they're offering parents new ways to share feedback, including the ability to report content they think teens shouldn't see. They are using AI and other methods to be able to identify minors. So even if they say they're over 18 and then they are interacting with stuff, it will actually label them as teenagers, and then it will switch them automatically to this mode. The reason I bring this one up is that this is going to be changing reach and changing the way that people interact with these social services. This is obviously Instagram, which is one of the biggest ones, but something that we're seeing a lot of this year is just this new kind of approach to moderation online, and having different social media sites, whether it's, Facebook or TikTok or something, all kind of under the eye of being kind of held accountable for what the users are doing. And that's not an endorsement. That's not a criticism. That is just kind of the change of the landscape right now. Whereas before it was kind of like labeled as like platforms kind of put their hands up and said, that's not me. That's up to the users. And now they're taking kind of a stricter approach to it. So some of the content that you post, if it is something that would be maybe not in PG-13, it may not be shown to a very large portion of the people that are on the platform. So just keep that in mind. You can read more about that and everything else with the takeaways off of this article that Meta posted yesterday, October 14th, about Instagram teens being guided by PG-13 ratings. Peter Beck says they have to run off to another needless meeting, but this will be available as a replay, so hopefully you can get all caught up. Also, this is a good time to plug, I guess, the Adobe Live Discord. This is a really great place where I will often hop in and post links. I also go ahead and pop the raindrop in after the show each week. I also see that, Zonafly is in here giving really great ideas and suggestions for the show to include in previous or upcoming episodes. And we can also just talk about things. So I'll put the raindrop in here as well, but the raindrop will also be in the description in the replay in the event that you need it. What's next? The MacBook and Apple updates. So this one originally I was going to report on how it was rumored it was going to come out. And then this morning, when I was checking over all my news stories, I saw that apparently this already was announced this morning. And this is exciting for anyone who's in the market for some new computers. The M5 chip just was released or announced at least by the Apple official blog. And this is radical improvements up to performance. They are really focusing, like many other companies, on the AI capabilities of the this new chip. To give you kind of an idea, they moved away from like Intel processors and stuff, and now these are like extremely strong Apple silicon. This is M5, which is why they cleverly came with this V, which is like a Roman numeral of a V for the MacBook. They say that apparently the MacBook has up to 24 hours of battery life. So you can hop in here and you can be doing really intensive work and it'll last an entire day of just nonstop use. I mean, that's also assuming that you're not going to be sleeping at all, which is, I mean, maybe if you have a really tight deadline and you don't have a charger. But it is a new 14-inch MacBook Pro powered by the M5 chip. It says that is the next big leap in AI for the Mac. Among this, they also announced the M5 chip to also be added to the iPad as well. And they also announced some updates to their Vision Pro. Right on their newsroom website, you can see here that they have this upgraded knit band. They also have the new M5 chip for the Apple Vision Pro, but you can see that now they have this top and back band. Before it kind of was just this, where it was just kind of one and like one on the back, or it was like an alternative one. but they've since updated it to be a little bit more comfortable to then be able to have the top and the back. It has been riddled, at least, with the idea of poor sales, and they're not manufacturing many anymore, rumored wise. But there is a rumor coming out that they are going to be coming out with something closer to like Meta glasses that are way more, just like they fit on your face, and they would then have two experiences. This is a rumor that it would have the Vision Pro experience that you have right here when you are connected to a MacBook Pro. And then when you're not connected to an MacBook Pro, you would then be able to then have a kind of like dumbered down version that is simpler and more effective, just working and streamlined, where it won't have all the features, but it can, you can walk to the grocery store and you can have the capabilities of Vision OS on your face, and they just kind of look like glasses. Those glasses have not been announced. It's only rumored, but these are the updates that they have, and their hardware is getting more and more powerful, so it's making more and more sense. There is also Spectrum bringing NBA games in Apple Immersive to Apple Vision Pro, and that is where you are kind of immersed into an entire experience rather than just it being on a TV. Zonafly is now joining us on YouTube and Behance, so thank you for being here. Oliver is saying, sure, we need sleep. I'm definitely human. Oliver says he can just, plug in and recharge. Penny is hoping that whatever glasses come out look like Oakleys. I know that there were Oakleys that came out of Meta glasses, and they were not as passing as the Rebrands were. They kind of like looked a little bit techie in their own way. But then again, if you're doing any of it, you're going to be a nerdy techie bro like me. Since we're on YouTube, let's talk about YouTube. YouTube is announcing the update to their video player. It's changed a lot over the years. This is off of also Jason Kotick. Kottke. I don't know how to say it. Kottke. He brought together a kind of progress of the volume toolbar progress bar over the years, all the way back from 2005, which is 20 years ago. What's up, YouTube? And what I thought was really interesting about this is the real reliance on this embossed edges and creating a skeuomorphism approach to having these big buttons that really felt like the tactical buttons that maybe we were using when we were working with hardware back in 2005. Everything feels like it could actually physically live in a 3D space. But as things have progressed, we have now gotten to this new spot where all of the buttons are kind of then in the idea of almost like Vision OS or liquid glass, the idea that it is understood that these symbols can be interacted with even if they don't necessarily have circles around them or squares around them. They are then just kind of common understanding that you will go and you will interact with the things on screen. I think that the visual updates for YouTube look really nice. I've seen that they're starting to roll out this week, and I have already gotten them on mine. I don't know if it's just because I have YouTube Premium or not, but they included a few different cleaner immersive viewing experiences. You can see the first and foremost one, so what we're talking about, which is a cleaner and more immersive video player across mobile, web, and TV devices. But they also have improvements to the seek feature. They've updated the double tap to skip feature to make it more modern and less intrusive to your video watching experience. If you ever do that and you tap it, a lot of times they will then switch it over to going to a place where a lot of other people skipped. They have seamless transitions on mobile. When you're a mobile device, you'll notice a more seamless experience as you move between tabs with improved motion design. Clever saying, I miss button and dials. And I hear this a lot, especially in cars and automobiles. A lot of cars and automobiles have the, I don't know why I said cars and automobiles. Kendall's saying, I miss having a radio in the car that has real buttons and dials. Yes, right on theme there. Penny says, my car is so old that it still has all the buttons and dials. But it's interesting, how we like interact with this rather than how we interact with maybe things in the car when we're supposed to be keeping our eyes on the road. But it's just this new way that we're interacting with user interfaces. They also have ways that have updated their likes, their video saving, their comments. So you can check it all out, and you'll probably be experiencing the updates as well. This came out 2 days ago. Oh, look at that fun little hover function. When I hover over 2 days, it not only tells me the date, but it also gives me the exact time. So they posted it at 11:48 a.m. with 00 seconds. Good on them. But if you guys notice the changes, let me know. Let me know. Actually, if you're on YouTube right now, let me know if the viewfinder, not the viewfinder, the scrubber is any different than what it was. Like, is it updated for you as you're watching this stream in this moment? Let me know. Also, if you're on YouTube, do me a favor, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. That would be great. Helps with the algorithm, helps with discovery, helps me tell the Adobe team that people like the show. So thanks for checking it out. Oliver Andrews says, my car has a flat piece of glass with nothing to indicate where the buttons are, so it's impossible to use without looking directly at it. Yes, I feel like that's a common complaint with a lot of these new tablets that are used as driving situations. But, you know, what can you do except buy a new car? In some more artsy news, this is coming from ArtNet. This is Humans of New York's transforms Grand Central into a monumental photo show. After 15 years photographing New Yorkers, Brandon Stanton had 10,000 portraits to choose from for the exhibition. This is an interesting approach. When I first saw the headline of being like, Grand Central got rid of all their advertisements, I was like, they do this all the time in Times Square and it goes away. But this is for his new book, Dear New York. And this is written by Sarah Cascone. It is, for the first time possibly ever, there is not a single ad to be seen in Grand Central Terminal. Humans of New York, Brandon Stanton's popular social media art series of photographs of people he's interviewed on the city streets, has taken over each and every one of the 150 video billboards in the Grand Concourse, as well as the subway ads below Grand Central Station for Dear New York. Which is really cool. I mean, it has all of these people that he takes photos of on the street or in, like, you know, common New York spaces. They also have a gallery walk where you can walk through. I think this is when you walk in and you turn to the right, and there's always like a blank space. I think that's where this is. It's really cool. They also updated the subway spots as well, just giving more personality. I don't know how long they will be up. It says it will be up between October 6th and October 19th. So you have 3 days to go commute on Grand Central Station if you're in New York. But it would be cool if they left stuff up. It's a shame if they take it all down, just because, especially if there's places where there normally isn't advertisements. Like, I don't know, something like right here. I mean, I guess there normally are advertisements there, but if they just had, you know, Humans of New York all around, that would be really cool. Kendall says, are you going to go see that in person, Ryan? If I was in New York City, I would still do that. I would like to. But yeah. Clever is saying that the scrubber seems the same on YouTube, as does Kendall. Says, I still have the old UI on this account. Alyssa is going to this on Friday. She is so happy that Humans of New York is still kicking. Yes, I definitely know that Humans of New York was big in the Tumblr days. Nice to be able to see that he is still making a name for himself and still taking great photos. I still have not been stopped, you know. So there's that. Mr. Brandon wanting to take pictures of me. I'm in New York, but, you know, neither here nor there. You guys wait for my big billboard of my face in Grand Central Station in the coming times. But that's the news that we have for today. Wait, no, I lied. We have one more. One more is the AnyMotion conference. It's around here somewhere. Now, bear with me. This is not in my native tongue. So I cannot speak entirely to everything that it's about, but there are some really cool people that are speaking at it. It is in, where is it? Where are you? It has people like Matt Voice. Matt Voice or Voice is the reason why I was able to figure out that this even existed. But it has type animation, 3D art, as Ann Walsh, which is from like Sagmeister and Walsh. But obviously, she turned into her own thing with just Ann Walsh. And it is several days long. It's a 3 days festival. This is, by the way, my browser translating this, so some of this stuff is going to be really weird. But it's in Sao Paulo, so if you're anywhere near Sao Paulo, between this weekend, it is at the Expo Center Norte Yellow Pavilion, and it is sponsored by a bunch of really cool people like AE Scripts and AE Plugins, Grayscale Gorilla, School of Motion, bunch of the big names, Battle Axe. So it's going to be a really good conference, and this is all before Adobe Max. So if you are able to attend because you have your private jet, go check it out and let me know how it works out for you. Blink My Brain, Kendall is excited about, among other ones. So Alessandra's here. Hey! Alyssa's also encouraging me to leave my cave. I think that was in response to the Grand Central Station, but I think it's her telling me that I need to go to Sao Paulo, which I'm working on it. Okay. We're more than halfway through our show, and then right after this, we're going to be hopping over to Twitch for Design Sprint. But before we do that, we're going to do our weekly segment called Font of the Week. Font of the Week is the interactive segment of the show that we have each week where we look at 3 different typefaces and we have you guys decide who is going to be crowned the winner of the font that is the best of the week. They are all included in your Adobe Creative Cloud membership for getting the Adobe fonts just activated immediately on your account. And they all can just go on to fonts.adobe.com and you can go and you can activate them. The first one is Ing Variable by Furcozy. It is a sans serif font, but it's condensed and it feels very, very thin. I thought it was fun and dramatic. It comes in a variable font, so you can also adjust the slant between -20 and 20 to then have it go forward or backward. It has a set of preset styles, and these are the ones that you'll probably see in Photoshop. If you're in Illustrator, you'll be able to switch between the exact decimal points of being able to be like, I want it to be, -13, not -20. But if you're working in Photoshop, it'll just give you these ones. It says that it's a tight display font with a strong sense of rhythm and a very solid texture. It is the narrow shapes on it make Ing very suitable to be used on large scales, creating robust, solid text blocks. The side-to-side movement are a hint that something is accelerating without losing strength and control. It's a single weight typeface, so you only get one, but you can use caps and lowercase. But it's a perfect balance between acceleration and strength, giving it a unique and pure endurance. We like to normally go in here and right thing. Oh, we already have votes happening, but I have not created the poll yet. So time for me to create a poll for you guys. I'm going to put it up here, but I would also encourage you to maybe wait until you vote for one. If you are on Behance and you say, where the heck is this poll? You have to hop on over to the YouTube stream, which is just over on Adobe Live's YouTube page, youtube.com/@Adobe Live Community. Oh, somebody already did it for me. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate you, mod, whichever mod just did that. I was about to type it out, but it's already up there. So thank you. Make sure you vote there. And like I said, you might want to wait though, because we will hop into some stuff, and sometimes there's some prizes because we like to hop into the glyphs panel. And the glyphs panel is available for every font that you have. And not only will it give you all of your regular ones, it might surprise you with some stuff like a copyright or rights reserved. They have some arrows, which we always like to have some arrows. Accents on the top for multi-language support, or if you're just feeling like you want to add some dots and stuff on the top. We like to check to see if you can do your math homework in it, and that normally is if there are division symbols and plus symbols. Looks like yes, you can, all for Ing. We have arrows. I always like to have the arrows in here. I tend to highlight and normally get kicked around because it will bring you to whichever is already highlighted. And then it has both a kind of bold sense to it and a thin sense to being able to have those punctuation marks, trademarks, and they even have their own little insignia there. Degrees, symbols, and everything in between. Steven is saying Ing is really nice. And Steven is here. Like I said, Steven is up next right after this with Design Sprint. So thank you for being here and checking in without imposing too much on your preparation for your stream, which is in about 24 minutes. Also, Cody put up the poll. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate that. Also, Kendall saying that the fractions are looking quite fun to use. Yes, it is nice to be able to see the fractions and stuff. Next up, we have Larkin, and Larkin is a font by Ellen Luff from the Ellen Luff Type Foundry. Good for her for naming her foundry after her own name. I wonder if she has more people, or if it's just a one woman team. I don't know. The Foundry is known for offering a diverse and captivating range of thoroughly modern typefaces that cater to the distinguishing needs of designers, businesses, influencers, and creatives worldwide. This is a humanist font. It is very slightly serifed. I would say that it really touts that line a little bit. It definitely doesn't have too much drama to the serifs themselves. They just kick out ever so slightly. There is several different weights to it. They go from thin, regular, medium, bold, bold italic, extra bold, black italic. And I'm going to go in here and write out the file new. I see that in the chat, somebody already said, it was Miss Melanie, said Larkin is my favorite font. Chevy is also voting for Larkin. It looks like, wow, people really like Larkin, and it is winning a lot in the poll. So if you disagree with that, make sure you hop over and you vote for whichever one you want. Clever saying, I need to focus. I'm focused. I'm in. I'm locked in. Also, we will look at these glyphs right here. You can see that there's really good fractions in this one as well. There are some arrows, which is always good to see. We'll put those in. They kind of are seamlessly integrated. Division symbols. We got a little diamond if you want a diamond. That's fun. Among other things. Axel saying Larkin is a nice font. Oliver says, I'm liking Larkin. Stephen is rushing over to his design sprint. Woot woot. And Kendall says, I thought for a moment you said Ellen Lufton and was going to gasp because she's my favorite type teacher. She taught at my college, and I wish I would have taken one of her classes. They filled up fast, and then I also just didn't make enough of an effort to take it. But very nice lady. Used to go to her talks, especially when she would give them for Micah. And I have a few of her books around here. She was just part of the type conference that we worked with, which was the Conference, and she gave really good stuff. I definitely encourage you to check out her socials. She gives out really good information there too. Yeah, neither here nor there. Finally, Agenda, which is a typeface that is brought to us by Greg Thompson, and Greg Thompson. It says designed by Greg Thompson from Greg Thompson. This is a fun sans serif font. It is multiple weights. So if you need flexibility with being able to really mess around with something, I mean, just like look at this. Like this is so many weights. We go all the way from thin condensed, thin extra condensed, thin ultra condensed, thin condensed italic, thin extra condensed italic, thin ultra condensed. Like so many variants and options for you, all built into the same typeface, which is really cool. It says that it's one of the iconic typefaces of the 90s. Its extensive family was completely overhauled and relaunched as Agenda 1. The pristine, sleek, humanistic sans is a typographic all-in-one solution in regular, condensed, extra condensed, and compressed widths and weights ranging from thin to black. There are enough slight differences in Agenda 1 that a document set in current Agenda retail will likely reflow just from the slight character widths then changed to Agenda 1. Reflows for headlines and larger types are less likely in the wider styles and more likely in the narrower styles, but guaranteed for text sizes. This is very clear to read. You could definitely use this for both body copy or header copy. It is very easy to read, very clear, very bold, and I really liked it specifically for the G. The lowercase G I thought was really cool how it kicks out and then goes around. Uppercase isn't as exciting, but if you just look at this lowercase G, you look at it like in the regular, like that's so much fun. I don't know what it is about it, but it's just like I like how it kicks out and then swoops around into a little bowl. So big fan here. As far as glyphs go for this one, I mean, also look at the cutoff on that E. That's fun. Looks kind of similar to what we're going to be looking at for the Domino's rebrand. They also have some sticky notes animation glyphs in here, which is fun. And so those are our three that we have to vote on. So if you want to vote on the font of the week between these three, between Inge, or also guys, if you guys know how to pronounce Inge, Inge, let me know. Khalid is saying that they just added all of them to their libraries, which is great. Let me know which one you are most likely to use coming up next. Right now, Larkin is in the lead with 64%. Oh, just went up to 67. Oh, went to 64. It's all over the place. Very indecisive between the two. But if you want to go in there and you want to vote for something else, make sure you do that soon, because we only got about 15 minutes left of the show. And we've got a lot to get through, but I'm going to keep the poll open. That way you guys are able to vote. And at the end, we will crown a winner, and they will go in and live with all the other winners over on the Raindrop. You can see here that Font of the Week has its own little section there where we put the winners there between each one. Then let's, in the meantime, talk about some cool rebrands. The first rebrand that we have is coming from BPO, which is a cool website that does kind of BP and O that does really good profiles on different brands. A lot of times they're ones that I'd never heard of before, and they have great opinions. This one's coming from Emily Gosling, came out October 14th, which is yesterday, and it's all about First, which is spelled F-H-I-R-S-T. And the reason I wanted to include this one in particular is because of the profile's opening sentence here that talks a little bit about Y2K. So if you're if you're really little, you're watching the show, hey kids. But if you're not sure what Y2K is, Y2K was this big kind of freak out that was actually not a scam. It actually was avoided because there was a lot of good programmers that worked things out. But Y2K was this idea that like all the computers were going to break when they were switching from 1999 to 2000, that, you know, there was going to be a bunch of like missiles that went off and and we all melted down. But it has also now then progressed into an aesthetic that is what looked like the Y2K moment in time with design. And it was kind of perceived to be a trend, kind of the idea of nostalgia and how we're kind of like obsessed with the 80s and stuff. But this article is really suggesting, it says that we're at a point where the idea of Y2K as an aesthetic has stretched beyond trend or cycle and has morphed into an entity almost entirely devoid of the temporal placemaker its name suggests. Having repeated ad nauseum, Y2K is no longer about a visual cultural moment and or collection of moments around 25 years ago. Instead, it's become a Burroughs and Gin-esque third mind, nostalgic, two-dimensional signifier of a non-existent past, simultaneously sanitized and jazzed up into a new form, faintly evocative of a time and place, but with little really that connects to what we saw and did and liked in the actual historical year 2000. Which, like, whoa, talk about words, but really well said and really cool way. First did this update that is really leaning into this theoretical, not entirely real, but kind of an elevated form of the 2000s. We've got, you know, things that kind of look like Lisa Frank, also just like web art, super loud and big. And it's a cool way to advertise the soda, because this super functional soda named First has a lot of personality behind it and is super loud and all over the place and kind of ugly, but so ugly that it's pretty. It's got shinies, it's got reflectors, it's got rainbows. And I just thought it was really cool packaging, and a really cool First, it's good to be alive with this horse with with lightning bolt strikes, which is really cool. And I thought it was well done, and it's goofy, and it's nice to not take things so seriously all the time. Then we have the Domino's rebrand, which is very subtle but also very strong. This was first brought to my attention on Brand New, and you can see here that there's a very subtle updates here between the before and the after. The thing that you can notice the most is the scaling change in the domino, and also the scaling change in the word mark itself. Alyssa, in reference, by the way, to First, is saying, more brands with personality. Yeah. And then also there is subtle change in the colors, which to the naked eye might be different, but like we'll see here. So this is what, E51937, which is like down here, but then if you click here, it moves up and more saturated. This over here is 00788E, but if you go over here, It's more saturated. They said that this is likened to the idea of having hotter colors, like the hotter pizza. They have very minutely changed the spacing between like the dots on the bottom, but it's all like things. If you were to show me them side by side, and this is kind of what they argue in the article too, it's going to be hard to tell which is which. But where it gets really interesting is the cool new pizza boxes. I saw these pizza boxes on their press release, and I really like the idea of having the boxes be the Domino's, and just easily a signifier. They're bright, they're colorful, and they're really neat. And then they're also going off of this weird new approach where they're putting M's into Domino's, because you can't say Domino's without saying and they kind of expand and bring back down, and they have really cool animation to it, but I thought it was cool. Also in the word mark, they cut off some of the ends here, which is really nice. And overall, it's a subtle update, but it's a nice update, and it feels fresh, and it still feels authentic and real to its authentic roots. We're saying from slightly pink to more true red. Cody loves the boxes. Umar Corn says, "Oh, nice." Alessandro says, "Looks nice." Clever feels like it kind of hints to the Dom, which seems a bit odd. Oliver is laughing at the Dominoes. Miss Melanie is also saying boxes are cool. Alyssa says boxes are cool. Alyssa says, I freaking love Dominoes, to be honest. Which, yeah, it slaps. I know I'm in New York, but it's still great. And then I wanted to highlight the ladies over at Chutzpah, which we've had on the show before. They also did a rebrand of Rooted Farmers, which I hadn't heard of, but I just thought it was a really strong rebrand. It's all one color, monocolor, feels more like a stamp you can work with, especially with like farming and stuff. I feel like it needs to feel more tactical, and I really like how they're relying on the negative space of the cow's head and also still incorporating flowers, but still kind of really rooting in the idea of farming, because here I would just be entirely here thinking like, it's just like a floral company. With here, it makes that connection with farming. I like what they chose for a more legible typeface. I like the the little kickouts of serifs on the R's and the F's. The F going up is a little weird, but it's interesting how it then kind of like alley oops over into the A, because otherwise it would have been kind of straight and into it. And it's nice how the things work together. So don't have too much to say about it, but I just wanted to give a thumbs up because it's the Chutzpah ladies and the Chutzpah team is awesome. So big thumbs up for that. Miss Melanie is also saying she's going to go get Domino's now. And Kendall is saying, I love the animation for the cow. So I don't know if I have the animation though, but if you could put it in the Discord, that would be great. And we'll have to check it out. We only have a few minutes left. Oh my gosh, I always am worried about not having enough, and then I always have too much. So let's quickly blow through resources. The one that I really want to make sure we get to is this studio baseline. They're from Germany, but they have this cool tutorial that they said it was cool if I shared. It's over on Instagram, and this is the idea of being able to animate lines onto your Instagram reels or posts just to add some interest to it. It's super simple, super easy to do. But if you look at the animated path, it's something where you can have an otherwise static post and it doesn't have really much else animation, but you can also have it interact with elements. You could like bring it to the way that it's like flipping around. You can circle different elements on the page to be able to say, this is what I want you to look at. It says they're easy to create. They guide the user's eye, add flow and continuity between slides. And they also create a polished and professional feel. Super easy to do in Adobe After Effects. You're just gonna go in and you can create a path. Then you can use the trim paths to then just create keyframes for both the starting and the end. And then you can move it or you can offset it, and then go from there. This tutorial in its whole is available on the Raindrop, so that you'll be able to go and you can slow it down and watch it. But you can also mess with the curves and stuff to make it feel a little bit more natural and exciting. It's saying do slight time offsets in different colors to be able to kind of flip it through, and then they can go on top of each other. But a super really easy way. You could also play with different effects, like making things bigger or smaller so they feel like they bleed. But I just thought it was a really simple and easy way to add flair and animation to an otherwise static post. As far as other resources go, we have the Space Exploration Logo Archive. This is once again, not like Creative Commons or anything here, but it is the focus on a bunch of different logos of different space agencies over the years. You have stuff all the way up of like, the Latin American and Caribbean Space Agency from 2021. But if you scroll, you can see that we get all the way down to like the 60s. And you can see that there is really cool logos and updates, and just, you can kind of get normal kind of aesthetics, and it's all organized by like military space army, private space flight companies worldwide. What do we have here? They have things from 1985 here, 1984. I think I saw something from like, didn't they have something crazy? Oh, this is all sci-fi, which is cool because it also has, focuses on like things of like Futurama, and you can go in and it has like a profile of everything. It gives you related logos, especially if you're working on like a sci-fi project. This might be a really good place for inspiration, and gives you a little detail as well. Oh yeah, she's a great actress. I like her. And she's also from House of Cards. But cool little resource. Like I said, it's not free commons, so it's not like you can use all these logos, but it is something to check out. And then one more Adobe plug here. We're going to do Adobe Express real quick. They did an update with the very best templates for Q4, October to December. Just a reminder for Adobe Express, if you are using it, you can use these templates that they have, seasonal templates like Breast Care Awareness Month, World Mental Health Day, Halloween, Diwali, Dia de los Muertos, Thanksgiving, holiday sales, Giving Tuesday, Hanukkah, all of these different really great thumbnails that you can go and you can even just like edit the template. And with brands and stuff, with one click, you can just switch it so it automatically changes it to be all your fonts, all your colors, implements different things of like images and icons that you have in your brand. And then suddenly you don't have to worry about having to scale as many holiday posts, because we are about to enter crazy holiday marketing. I know it feels far away, but it is October and you got to start planning your Christmas stuff now, your New Year stuff now. Like, it all just, once it comes, it doesn't stop coming. All right, so we flew through that. I know I didn't look too much at the chat too much. I do see that Kendall says she loves The Martian. Alessandra loves all the options. And thank you guys for all being here. Also, Reverb Mike, thanks for being here. But I'm going to go over and we're going to go finalize our font of the week. So you got about like 10 seconds left if you want to still vote over on the YouTube poll for the font of the week. It looks like we have a winner, though, no matter what, unless there's like, 10 people that want to come in all at once and change the tide. Between Ingvariable, Larkin, and Agenda, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And with 59% of the vote, we have Larkin as our winner. So congratulations to Larkin. Thank you so much for voting, and big hats off to them. I don't know where it went. It normally posts straight in the chat, but it was 59%. Holler towards Larkin. It's a very pretty font. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, like that. And like I said, I will move this with all of the other winners in the raindrop for you guys. We'll go here. I can do it in real time. I can take Larkin and just put it over, and now it lives with all of its other brethren of winners here, where we have like adhesive number 8 and Hagrid and Kofo and a bunch of stuff. There we go. It ended the thing. There we go. Nice. So thank you guys for voting. Thank you for hopping over to the Discord and hanging out. Looks like Kendall updated the Zonafly animation. Oh, I love it. Look at how cute it is. Oh, that's awesome. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And this is a great place to be able to share links, talk about different things that are happening, in real time. There's some stuff that like I don't mention on the show, either because we run out of time or just doesn't make as much sense. Like you'll see 2 days ago there was California becoming the first state to regulate AI companion chatbots, but then also when Drew Struzan died, I posted the link right there. So it's a good way to get the news before we even have the show each week. But we will be back next week, same time, same place. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. Like I said, next up we have our Twitch content, which is going to be Steven Overturf. We have a full day of content tomorrow, all on YouTube, and we even have some stuff happening this Friday with the Premiere Pro team and color in the Pantone Connect. So make sure you check that all out here on the YouTube page. Do me a favor, give this a thumbs up on YouTube. Make sure you show your friends, tell your friends. Thanks for commenting on the YouTube chat. It helps with the algorithm. And thank you to a bunch of people in the chat between Clever and Cowboy. We also have Alessandra. Thank you to Cody for moderating. Alyssa, Alex, Melanie, Cristiano, Ayuba. Who else do we have? Reverb Mike, Cody, Alessandra. Am I missing Umacorn? There's so many that I'm sorry if I don't holler at the name. But thank you guys. Make sure you head over to Twitch next. We lost the Behance people, sorry, but that's what you guys get on YouTube. You get the extra few minutes. Thank you for being here. And we're gonna head over to the Twitch, and I'll see you guys over there in the chat. I'm rambling. This has been great. Thanks for being here. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.